Hello everyone, this is AndresRestart, and this time we have so much to discuss when it comes to Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. The news continues. We have new footage, and I am not talking about the trailer, the Survive trailer that came out earlier this week. If you're curious on that, I have a whole 20-minute 4K analysis on that trailer. There's a lot to dissect there. But we now have even more new footage, just a little bit, that I'm going to be dissecting today as well. But on top of that, we're going to be talking about Nintendo's marketing for Metroid Prime 4. It is ramped up. It's actually pretty good. Some of the best marketing I've seen from Nintendo in a very long time. But then going beyond that, pun intended, we are getting news of preview events coming out next week for Metroid Prime 4. That in and of itself is newsworthy, but there's more. There does seem to be some strong implications that if we are going to be getting a Metroid Prime 4 Direct, it is also going to be next week. We'll be discussing that. And also, we'll be going over a closer look at the Samus amiibos that have come out today. So we have quite a bit to discuss when it comes to Metroid Prime 4 Beyond this time. But before going forward, let me point out that I do have this goal to reach 60,000 subscribers. So if you find yourself enjoying my videos, I would very much appreciate your support. Subscribing, liking the video, hyping the video, that all makes a huge difference. It helps out these videos to actually reach a larger audience, so I would appreciate the support if you do find yourself enjoying my videos, but at the very least, I thank you for coming by to watch this one. So Nintendo's own Twitter page shared out this footage of the Samus amiibos. As you can see here, they look awesome as we see them closer up with more detail. They just look really good. Am I going to pick them up? Well, amiibos are expensive, but this is very, very tempting. I just love how awesome they appear to be. And here are some more photos of the Samus amiibo from Nintendo Life. As we can see here, we can take a close look at the visor. Looks kind of simple, but the rest here looks pretty darn good. There it is in the box. That beautiful Viola motorcycle. We can even see like the sand here, which is pretty nice. Man, oh, I'm so tempted to buy these. They just look cool. Oh, I like that. Cool stuff here. That's just funny. This Ridley amiibo's been around for years, by the way. It came out with Smash Brothers. But, funny stuff there. Moving past that, though, Andy Robinson from Video Games Chronicle today said, "Today I'm at Nintendo for a Metroid Prime 4 preview event. Expect full coverage on VGC News on Friday, November 14th. So, previews are happening, and they're coming out next week on Friday. We even also have from Game Informer as well. They are saying that their coverage will come out on November 14th, next Friday. So 8 days from now. Now, I really do like what they're sharing here with this backdrop they're sharing from the event. And here's just a big, massive cardboard cutout of a Samus on the Viola motorcycle. Wow, I would really love to have this. It'd be really great to have next to my Samus amiibo from the Nintendo GameCube launch of Metroid Prime 1. But we can see this background of Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and we can see the desert, we can see the layers to the desert, the rocks, and how it builds up to the forest. Like, we haven't seen, from the desert perspective, how we enter the forest, and we can see how it progresses towards this massive tree over here. So it's a nice look at this perspective of the world of Metroid Prime 4. Looks really cool, and it evokes a massive, vast, beautiful world to explore, which I think is a really big thing Nintendo should highlight here, because Metroid Prime 4 is an adventure game. I think one of the big issues with the Metroid series, it's one of the best series out there that people don't buy, and that's because they're not quite clear on what it is. Like, some people see Samus and the shooting and they're like, oh, it's a sci-fi shooter or whatever. It's way, 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 way more than a sci-fi shooter. It's an adventure game. It's an adventure game that rivals the Legend of Zelda series. And I don't mean the spin-offs, I don't mean the side games, I mean the very best of Zelda matches right up to the very best of Metroid. They are both some of the best games out there in the history of gaming. And I actually think it's extremely unfortunate that there are millions upon millions of people that play Zelda but don't give Metroid the time of day. Why? Because they think it's like a sci-fi shooter, I guess? Like, yeah, it's way more than that. And I'm just saying, if you haven't played Metroid before, you should definitely give it a try. But to speak on the implication of these preview events, They are happening on November 14th. I think this is a very interesting hint here. November 14th is a Friday. Previews coming out on a Friday, as far as I'm aware, is actually very out of the ordinary. Typically, we get previews for Nintendo games on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. I went back and checked. Like, we look at the previews for Tears of the Kingdom. A Wednesday, we look at Donkey Kong Bonanza, Pokemon Legends ZA. Tuesdays, those are more recent happenings. Like, this is when previews happen. Tuesdays or Wednesdays earlier in the week. The fact that the previews are dropping on Friday, to me that suggests that they can't have them come out earlier in the week for a particular reason. They are not allowed to put out their coverage of Metroid Prime 4 until Friday for something. Nintendo is making them wait for something. Massive marketing campaign than usual. And shorter too, so it's going to be less spread out and more compact with more going on. Like, we've already seen how the journey has been continuing as they put out in this trailer that came out earlier this week. The journey continues. Over the last few weeks, the conversation has been about the Metroid Prime 1 through 3 art book and different things coming up from the producer's notes and all of that conversation. This week, it's been the Samus Amiibos and the new trailer. Next week, at the end of the week, is going to be the preview events, but I actually think there is going to be something else that comes out before the previews, earlier in the week. Hyrule Warriors has come out this week, and really, as we've talked about before, yes, I've talked about how, based off prior events, the Direct should have happened already. However, every time I've also talked about, I suppose it's possible they could be waiting until the second week of November after Hyrule Warriors comes out. Because while it would be technically less than a month before Metroid Prime 4 comes out, and usually the latest they wait is a month before release, if it's early next week, it'll just be a few short days less than a month. So basically the same thing, and if they're aiming for something a little bit denser, more compact, then a Metroid Prime 4 Direct early next week makes a lot of sense, and now we're seeing these preview events to further suggest that. So basically it comes down to this. We are getting the Metroid Prime 4 Direct early next week, or it's not happening. That's pretty much it. Regardless, it has become apparent that Nintendo is now truly marketing Metroid Prime 4 way more than ever before. So I mentioned that there is new footage for Metroid Prime 4. There is. I'm not talking about the Survive trailer that came out earlier this week. I'm talking about something that came out last night. So take a look at this minute-and-a-half commercial. So as you can see from this commercial, a lot of it's about Donkey Kong Bonanza. It really makes me want to play Donkey Kong Bonanza again. They also show off Madden, and I haven't played Madden, but it does look pretty good. Like, I'm left with the impressions like, wow, this console is capable of some good looking games. And also, there's a big section on Metroid Prime 4. And we've seen some of this from the commercials that came out a few weeks ago that weren't supposed to come out to the public. But there's actually even more here. We do see a little bit more of the Zelios boss fight. We can see a little bit more of the background. I can see like tree branches and stuff. This leads me to think this is another boss fight that happens in the forest area. We already know this is pretty early on into the game based off the energy tanks and the missiles, but this is likely later than the Carvex boss battle, but still pretty early on. But the bigger thing here is we get another look at the use of the mouse controls. There's an emphasis on using mouse controls here, and there's a drawing of symbols on this circular structure. And we've talked about something like this before from the Welcome to Vero trailer for Metroid Prime 4, and we've theorized that there are going to be a lot of portals in this game. We've already seen several portals in this game already, but this looks like we're really drawing one around it. We're getting to see more with what's going on with it, and I am now thinking more so than ever before that this is some kind of portal, and you are opening this door. There has been some conversation that perhaps with that Welcome to Vero's trailer, where there's that whole weird thing with the narrator talking about Samus can open doors with her psychic powers, they may have been trying to be very careful about spoilers, and there may have been a little bit of issue in translation, and these doors are actually doors to other areas of the world, or different places in space and time. And doors is actually probably portals. Like, just consider the logo of the game. It's a black hole. We are going beyond. There are many portals. Black holes have been theorized to be the entrances to wormholes. You come out of a white hole. It would be a portal, a transport to another place through space and time. So this new little bit of footage here further supports that thinking with what we see going on here. As Samus is drawing the symbol, we see something going on with this circle. There's a sparkliness there. We're opening something up here, and I mean, it's not like a mechanical contraption that we're opening up to progress further, as you've seen from prior footage, but it does appear to be something that we're maneuvering around to get past, and I think it's most likely a portal. But speaking on the marketing here, this commercial is one of the best Nintendo commercials I've seen in a very, very long time. Like, this would get me excited to pick up a Switch 2, to be excited about the games on Switch 2, and the overall experience if I didn't have one already. Like, seeing Donkey Kong Bonanza, seeing how good Madden looks running on this hybrid device that you can play anywhere, seeing this epic game, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, seeing the mouse controls all in one package. That's a great selling point for people to pick up the Switch 2 these holidays. And the music, it's catchy, it's cool. This isn't a commercial that's only for children, that's appealing to the soccer moms to buy something for little Jimmy. Like, yeah, they can do that too. Like, I'm sure the soccer mom can see this commercial and be like, oh yeah, I should get this for my kid this holiday. But there's nothing in here that's like rated M. But this is also a commercial that appeals to people in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, and beyond. This is something that is very cool, that evokes an experience that many gamers would be interested in. And we think about how recently we've heard from Nintendo's financials, they've actually updated their forecasts. They were initially already forecasting 15 million Switch 2s sold this fiscal year, which wouldn't even be a whole year the console would be out on the market, because the fiscal year ends at the end of this upcoming March of 2026. That would be about 9 months. They've actually moved that to 19 million now, so it's an even higher amount that they were expecting. The Switch 2, despite all the negativity from the grifters that are lying to their fans so they can get more views, is actually doing better than what Nintendo was hoping for. And with commercials like this going to the holiday, who knows? Nintendo might need to improve their forecast even more so. We shall see. But perhaps what's even more exciting about this is that yes, the commercial opens up with Donkey Kong, which is great, but it closes with Metroid. They have a segment in the middle of Metroid, and they come back to Metroid. Metroid is the closer of this commercial. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond comes out this December. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is the last big Nintendo release of the year. And I think there was some disappointment when we heard about the release date being in December, not earlier in the year, which means the game won't be eligible for the Game Awards. But I think we should remind ourselves that Nintendo's operating on a schedule that's unlike anything else before. The console, Switch 2, came out this June. Many people predicted that there was no way the Switch 2 could come out in the summer because consoles don't normally come out in the summer, yet the Switch 2 has, and has proven to be extremely successful. So far, for the first 4 months the console's been out on the market, that's how much data we have so far. It's been out longer at this point, but we don't have that data yet. The console has sold over 10 million. It's still the fastest selling console ever. It's pacing ahead of even the Switch 1, which is projected to become the best-selling video game console of all time. Now, will that hold? Only time will truly tell, but the fact that we're even more months in, and this record pace is maintaining, and they've now increased their forecasts, that bodes extremely well, and Metroid Prime 4 is their closer for this year. I think that says something. How much does that say? How much will that ultimately mean for the sales of Metroid Prime 4? I don't know. But I'll tell you this, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, I think is going to be the best game of the year, and I think it's going to deserve to have incredible sales, and I hope Nintendo's marketing helps to sell that to the people that wouldn't pick up Metroid Prime 4 otherwise, and it leads to a lot more conversation, which leads to the game, the series, finally seeing the success it deserves. Fingers crossed. I hope this happens. But what do you all think? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I will see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.